Hey everyone, I'm back. I just had a little storage problem on my phone, ran out of storage and had to have a little pause. So we'll see how the editing goes from this point on. We were talking about the windswept shawl. I think I just showed you the pattern, and I wanted to share with you the yarn that I'm using. As I mentioned, my auntie has got quite sensitive skin, so it was best to get something nice and silky and soft that wouldn't irritate her neck. So I got this yarn, which is a fibre spates yarn. It's called Scrumptious. It's 4-ply sport weight, and it's 45% silk, 55% merino. This is the oyster colourway. Don't know if the camera's picking up. That's probably a better colour representation. I think it's more an oatmeal-y sort of, almost like a middle of a cream caramel, that sort of creamy colour, but a nice neutral that'll go with lots of things. So really, really squishy, and it's got that nice silk sheen to it. It's picking up a little bit of light from the window, but it's picking up the sheen quite nicely. So that's the yarn that I'm using. The project itself, it's a triangular shawl. Just got the yarn, rest of the yarn caked up in the other skein there. Really is super squishy. And the pattern is a slip stitch pattern for the main body of the shawl, which you can see there. I think I'm just going to have to pull the blind across a little bit because I don't know if you can see that. Just maybe 1 second. You just see if I can do that. That's better. Yeah, so the light is really playing up today. It's difficult. I was debating where to actually do the podcast, and it just works on a centre increase. And that's what will be the top of the shawl eventually. So I'm knitting this on Chiagu interchangeables. Really nice smooth knitting. Been doing this a lot when I'm watching TV in the evening. And it's nearly at the point where we're going to change to the pattern section for the border. So I'm not sure if we cut out before I actually got to show you so I'm at this section here, and then we're going to get down to this little simple pattern here and the picot bind off. So that's a really nice, I think it's very wearable shawl as well. I think you can wear it almost as a scarf. A bit conscious when you give shawls to non-knitters that they might be a bit not sure how to wear them, or the fact that it's a shawl rather than a scarf. So I thought it was a nice sort of gift idea, this one. I'm keeping this in a lovely bag that I bought. As I mentioned, I am a bit of a bag fiend. I need to stay away from Etsy big time between now and Christmas. And it's this one, which I bought from Marie Celeste Stitches on Etsy. This gorgeous bumblebee print and linen bottom, lined with a lovely red and white spot, little cheeky yellow zip. And can you see the little bee zip pull on there? Really, really cute. There's a tag, which is still on there. Just move that out of the way for you. Yeah, her bags are beautiful. She also does a lot of Liberty print patchwork bags, which are so well made. They're absolutely stunning. Sold out sadly by the time I bought this one, but I think she takes custom orders. So if you're in the market for a project bag, which I think most of us knitters are, check her out because her stuff is amazing. I bought this one, the Grocery Girls featured her bags on their podcast, and she was offering a coupon code for her store, so I managed to get a little bit of a saving, which was great as well. Particularly the way the exchange rates are at the moment. Not that that really stops me, but it's good to be able to save a little bit of money. And I added a little needle gauge in the shape of a beehive that I bought from Loop. One of my favourite shops, but really dangerous as far as the bank balance is concerned. So I think that's quite cute on there. It's really lightweight wood as well, which is nice. So I think that's all the whips. There is a Cozy Memories blanket, which I won't show you today. I'll perhaps share that next time, and that obviously that's going to be having a little bit of a rest until after Christmas, but really, really enjoying that because it's a great way of using up all my scraps, and of course gives me an excuse to buy lots of nice minis as well. So I'm going to move on now to a little bit of sewing that I did recently. And you're going to spot a bit of a theme going on here with project bags. I am a bit obsessed with them. Everyone in the house keeps telling me, do you need another project bag? And I won't tell you what I say when they ask me that. So this is one that I made myself, and it's got a little bit of patchwork. This fabric is so cute. It's the Pixie Noel range. I think it's Riley Blake, I think. And I bought the fat quarters I wanted weren't in stock when I ordered. It's got patchwork on the back as well. So I bought a 10-inch, I think it's called a charm pack. I'm not really a quilter, but it had all the designs, so it was ideal. So patchwork was the way to go. So there wasn't enough width on them to make the whole bag. So it's just a box bottom construction bag, lightly interfaced. Got this cute little jingle bell pull, which is actually a decoration that I picked up, which I thought was quite sweet on there. And I've lined this as well. Just got the zip pull caught in the zip. It's just got like a spotty lining, just a sort of quilting cotton in there. And I was really pleased with the way the zip came out. It's only the second project bag I've made, and oh, is it the third? It might be the third. But I was pleased with the zip on this one. It actually came out quite well, because zips I do struggle with quite a bit, but I've watched quite a few tutorials on YouTube and think I'm getting there. So I just need to practice some more. And I'm actually planning on making a couple of these for my aunties that knit as part of their Christmas presents. I'm going to do one with patchwork all over the front, and in this pack there were patterns, fabric patterns that are sort of more the pinks and blues and navy, which are really sweet. So I thought I might do that, and I've even got some pom-pom trim just to sew along either the top or the bottom. But I have a little play around with that later, and when I make them I'll share them so you can have a little look. Now, Christmas knitting bag needs Christmas yarn, and this is some beautiful yarn that I bought from Nora George. You can see it's a sock set, and it's called Candy Cane, and the colours in here just really represent that lovely Christmas candy cane perfectly, and the gorgeous Christmassy green, which I'm going to use for the heels and toes. This yarn is 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon and 5% stellina. I think it's going to look amazing for Christmas socks, so that will be my Christmas Eve cast on. I think Danny, Little Bobbins, did a Christmas Eve cast on last year. I think it may have gone the year before, but I wasn't actually knitting socks then. So this will be caked up, put in my bag and ready for Christmas Eve. And it's literally the only thing I've got ready for Christmas so far, so I need to get a bit of a wiggle on. But I thought I'd get my priorities straight, get my yarn and my project bag. And they go so well, and that makes me really happy. So that's Christmas all sorted. Acquisitions. I'm a bit naughty. I do like buying yarn. I don't necessarily have a project in mind. I just see it and I like it, and it just falls in my Etsy basket or whatever basket it may be, and there it is. But it's, you know, not a huge vice. So let's have a little look at what I've been buying lately. What I should say is recently I went to the Yarnporium show at King's College in London. Went with my daughter. She's not a knitter or interested in yarn or fibres at all, but she's always up for a trip to London, especially if it involves shopping and a bit of lunch. So off we went, and I did get quite a haul from there. One of the things that I particularly liked was from a seller called The Little Grey Girl. It's this really cute little pyramid shape project bag, and if you see closely, it's a print of buildings of London, which, being a London girl, I thought was quite cute. Had to have it, of course, and the show was in London, so it was a bit of a must-have. So it's going to be perfect for a little pair of socks that you're knitting on the go. And I hadn't even noticed, but Lulu spotted these little tiny notions pouches that matched. So that was a given, had to have that too. And this is perfect because you can just fit inside a little pair of scissors, a little tape measure, which has got the logo on too. And I've got a darning needle in there, a little highlighter for marking on patterns. And it's perfectly sized, really dinky, and just matches the bag perfectly. So yeah, couldn't resist those at all. While we're at the show too, I thought it would be only appropriate that I let Lulu choose some yarn for something that she might like, seeing that she'd been such a good help and good company that day. And she decided that she really wanted some mittens. Now, we bought this yarn from Mrs. Moon, who I've seen at the Knitting and Stitching show at Alexandra Palace, and really admired their yarn, but really didn't know what I was going to make with it. This is their it's their DK weight yarn, and this is the Darjeeling colourway, and this one is Marshmallow. So Lulu chose those as her favourite colours. They are unbelievably soft, almost like, feel like fleece. They are so soft. I think they're going to make the warmest mittens ever. I mean, the yarn's called Plump, and it really is the plumpest, squishiest yarn ever. It's an 80% superfine sustainable merino and 20% baby alpaca. So they are going to be fabulous knitted up as mittens for her. I may get them done in time for Christmas, I really hope so. But if not, they'll certainly be done for afterwards, when it will still be really probably colder, even in January, I'd imagine. So that was one acquisition. And then because we bought the yarn, we then saw these. They're mitten blockers, and they are just adorable. When we saw them on the vendor's stand, they had some mittens already in, so the top of the mouse was just poking out. Too cute to leave behind. The little adjustable bits for the thumbs, and they smell lovely as well because they're lovely wood and they've been finished with beeswax. So yeah, they smell really lovely, really well made. A bit of a extravagance, but who could resist? And they're from the Knitting Shed, and they've got a website which is theknittingshed.com. Adorable. So that was one purchase. Then on to some more yarn that I bought at the show. And this, again, Lulu chose this. She likes a bit of sparkle. That's a better colour. The light in here isn't really doing the yarn any favours. It's a bit like a night sky with loads of twinkly stars. This is from Sweet Georgia, and it is their Cash Luck Spark. It's an 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere and 10% spark in the sapphire colourway. It's absolutely beautiful. Really lovely yarn. I can see this going nicely with a grey to make a nice shawl. Might be a little bit too luxurious for socks, or maybe a nice, I don't know if there'd be enough to make a sock head hat out of this. It'd make a really nice hat as well. So that was another of our purchases. I think taking Lulu was a bit dangerous because she was quite enabling. Another purchase on the day was from Yarn Stories stand, and I'd been particularly looking out for this yarn, which is the La Bien Aimée. I'm not a French speaker, so if I've murdered that with my French accent, apologies. And these, not necessarily to go together, but just because they are so beautiful. This one is called Romance, and the colours in there and the shades of pink and the speckles, just so subtle. Absolutely beautiful. And that is a merino single, 100% merino, 400 yards for 100 grams. And the other one is called Wee Rainbow on a Vespa, which interesting colourway name. I always find the colourway names fascinating that dyers give their yarns. I wouldn't like to have to think them up myself, but some of them are really quite inventive. And there are some lovely colours in this one, but I was really taken by the turquoisey, tealy, aqua blues in that. So that was another one that was a must-have, had to come home with me. And finally at the show, Just a few little minis that I bought for my blanket. A few little bits of sparkle in there. Might even use them for, particularly the cream one, might be nice for heels and toes on some socks. So they were lovely too. There was some other yarn that I bought at the show, which has actually already been knitted into a shawl, which I might show you next time, because I recently volunteered for a test knit, which was a bit scary because I'd never done it before, but I really wanted to have a go and see if I could knit to a deadline and follow a pattern that hadn't been tested. It's quite a simple pattern. It was for Eden Cottage yarns, so I will share that soon, hopefully. It's all blocked and finished, and the yarn was beautiful, so we'll have a look at that next time. A few more acquisitions, well, just two more. This one was from the Wool Barn. I normally miss the updates, and this colourway I believe is called Lily. Very subtle. Thinking it might be nice for something for my mum. She doesn't like bright colours or anything too patterned. It's just got the tiny speckles of the sort of pale greens and pale teals in there on this lovely creamy base. And it's a luxury sock, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. So I think that makes some really nice snuggly socks for my mum. So that was a treat to get that. And also, while I was filling up my basket on the Wool Barns update, I bought this hand balm, which is ylang ylang and geranium. It's absolutely beautiful. I know you can't smell this, but it is lovely, and I love that sort of smell of geranium. It's like a thick balm. It's just nice for those little dry snaggly bits you can get on your fingers, particularly this time of year. And I like it just because keep it in my knitting bag, pop it on, and then you don't get those horrible little snags that catch on your yarn, which is a pet peeve of mine. Okay, last but not least, Elm Tree Yarns. I hadn't heard of this particular vendor on Etsy before. I came across them via Jules on the So Sweet Violet podcast. And this yarn is so pretty. This is Mrs. Mouse from the Beatrix Potter collection. And I just really liked the shades of lavender and cream, the mousy brown, and the lovely leafy green. So I think this might be destined to be a shawl. I've got another couple of yarns in my stash that would match beautifully with it. I think there's a little bit of stellina in there as well. Yeah, there is a little bit of stellina, but I don't think the camera's picking it up very well. Maybe a little twinkle there, but it's lovely. And of course she does some really nice, apologies for the crinkles, she does some really nice mini sets. And this was a little Beatrix Potter mini set that I got for my Cozy Memories blanket. So there's 5 lovely skeins in there too. So I've been spoiling myself a bit lately. Sometimes you just feel that need, don't you, to have a little splurge. So that's all my acquisitions. There isn't really anything else that I wanted to show you today. Just to say, if you have watched, thank you very, very much. I am nervous. Hopefully next time will be a little bit more relaxed, maybe not so rushed. I do have a few more things to show you. I'll maybe show you some finished objects that I've completed in the past. Maybe some stash that was acquired a bit further back than the stuff I showed you today. And maybe a bit more sewing if I get on all right with the project bags. But if you do like the podcast and you like to know when I'm podcasting again, if you can click on subscribe and let me know what you think, I'd be really grateful. But thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Thank you. Bye.